That is rain, huh? Is it raining?
Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
It's raining, finally.
2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Thursday edition of the J.P. Peterson Show. We are so glad to be here this morning, once again in the Jeeves Law Group studio, because we got lots of fun stuff to talk about. We got the Rays hitting home runs. We had offense yesterday, and you know why? Because I showed up. That's why.
That's what it was.
It was showtime because JP's in the house. That's why they. That's why they showed up, because it was a big, as Rick said in the comments already, a big FU to me. Even Curtis Mead hit a home run, for God's sakes. It was a weird day yesterday at the park. So we're going to get all into that, what's going on with the Rays. The Tush push is alive. And what do you know? The Bucs voted to ban it, as they should.
Which is a little ironic.
Should.
Kind of ironic.
Yeah, we'll get into that. What a basketball game last night. Holy shiz bang. I got to admit, I turned the Knicks were up 14 with 2 minutes to go. I went to watch hockey. And then I went to watch Sports Center. I'm like, wait, what? The Pacers won the game?
I love this.
The Knicks were up 14 with 2:45 left. You know how many teams have won a game in that situation? None. 994-0. None.
Not anymore.
Until the Pacers. Wow. An epic choke. Oh, so much happened in that game. We've got a major cheating scandal in IndyCar, which, even if you don't care about IndyCar, this is unprecedented maybe in sports. So we got IndyCar Tim here to talk about that.
I've already heard from Paul Stewart this morning too, by the way.
About this?
Yeah, he already texted me this morning.
Yeah. So do you have to give his opinion in his Paul Stewart voice?
That's right.
What are cheating Americans?
Good day, mate.
Blokes.
Blokes.
Cheating blokes. He's like, I don't sound like that.
Yeah, you do, Paul. You do, Paul. I love you.
So we'll get into all that coming up today. Good morning to you, IndyCar Tim, and our Dallas affiliate, FanStream Sports DFW. How you doing? You're good. I
am good. That was a late night, man.
It was. That's right. You were at the Stars game last night.
I was at the Stars game, and it was. I started off kind of slow. I'm like, okay, look, if they're going to lose, I'm not going to get all misered up, But, dude, around the second period, the tone shifted a little bit, and then obviously the third period's when the fireworks started for the Stars and their power play, and it became the longest third period I've ever had before, just by number of drinks.
Were you doing shots every time they scored a power play goal? It was hard to keep up.
Oh, not just one.
Oh,
because I was having so many bought for me. You know how it is, JP, when you walk into a bar somewhere and people know you. Yeah, I gotta get JP shot. Shots on me for JP. Dude, it was no different last night in the old number 7 club at the AAC.
Nice.
Oh, it was great.
Oh, by the way, Rich Hollenberg from Rays broadcast is going to join us at 10:30 to kind of enjoy this little Rays run we're on, 2 series in a row at home. Yeah. What the hell's going on around here? Yeah, that's fantastic. So lots to get to today. So where shall we begin? I think we have to begin with the Rays, right? Do we not?
Yeah, you have to.
First of all, hot day yesterday. Super hot day yesterday. Thankfully I was in a lovely air-conditioned suite eating Kobe sliders, drinking free beer. As I am one.
Makes everything better, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. Especially when it's that hot. And it was sunny too. There was very little cloud cover. So this was the day that we finally got a little bit of outdoor baseball, the negative side of it. And I think there were a lot of empty seats, Now these tickets are all sold. So it's going to, it's probably go down as a sellout. I'm not sure, and there are a lot of people hiding in the shade. Like everybody moved up to the shade, all the SRO areas in right field and left field, anywhere that had shade, people were moving to that. So that's why a lot of those seats were empty, but a lot of people just didn't come. A lot of people, because it was freaking hot, and you can't, we're going to have some day games moving forward, and they're just not going to be well attended. And, people can bitch and moan at Tampa fans and all that or whatever. It just is what it is. Bottom line is the tickets are bought. He made his money, and that's that. But yesterday's crowd was enthusiastic, to say the least. And there's one thing that we're learning, that when you're playing in a stadium that doesn't have an upper deck, like most minor league parks, it's a different deal.
Mm-hmm.
And the wind was blowing out to right field yesterday, and Bilau's home run. I'll have to go look at the stats on that as far as the exit velocity and the launch angle. But I would say just by his reaction, it wasn't upper echelon. And that's not taking anything away from it. This is what they need to do. They just need to get the ball up into the air to right field, and it's going to go. I mean, Bilau's home run, if you watched him, he popped, it was a typical like, oh, that's a pop-up. I missed it. Dadgummit, I missed it. Puts his head down, throws the bat down. He's walking to first. The right fielder's like camping under it, about 10 steps in front of the warning track. 5 steps. Oops, I'm on the warning track now. Then the ball went out, and everybody was like, oh, my God. How did that happen? Because when the ball goes up in the air, you've seen it. It's just like, oh, that's a pop-out. And then like, oh, my God, it's just going and going and going and going. And, yeah, his home run, Meade's home run was to left center. He hit that pretty good, though. He hit that. He hit that pretty good. But that get carried out to right center field. He kind of hit it center field, and it got on that wind and just went. Who else's home run was the same? Not Yandy's and not Brady's. Brady's home runs were just like, and both. It's funny because when you're sitting on the third base side where I was, little past third base, so you could really see the trajectory of the balls to left field, especially. And both of Brady's home run, he hits them so high. He hit it so high, and you could just see the ball dying. And I'm like, oh, that ball's not going to get out. But both of his went. The second one was a bomb. Both of those, but he hit those. Those should have been 420-foot shots. He crushed those balls, and you could just see him dying in left field. But when they, from like center field on to right field, the ball just hits a jet stream, and it's gone. It is gone. So, and what did we have? 7 to 8 total home runs yesterday in the game, and then Yandy's, which put the game out of reach, was about 30 feet up the batter's eye wall. That was an absolute bomb that he hit.
I've got Brandon's here too, if you want to see it.
Yeah. And watch his reaction when he hits it. It's kind of funny.
Just the head goes down, and
reaction. He's like, I missed that one. Look at
Brandon
gummit
into the air.
Yeah,
and that's heading back, and it's still
just
going.
keeps going.
And it's gone. Back-to-back home runs. A helium ball by Brandon Loud.
Helium ball.
You can't believe it.
Well said.
There's your launch angle right there, 47 degrees, 100.3 miles per hour.
Yeah, I'm surprised the exit velo was 100, to be honest with you.
In right.
Yeah, the reaction of the right fielder and Bilau was like, yeah, that's a pop-up.
Did that really just get out?
Yeah. That was that. So it was a little crazy in that, but the Rays played great. Meisner had a great catch. Meade made a couple of fantastic plays at third base. I mean, he actually looked like a baseball player yesterday. I was shocked. There's a big F you to me.
The game.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this guy can actually play some ball. That's good to see. And look what happens. You win a couple of games. Everybody starts to even. I don't want to say Rortvet was any. I don't think he did anything yesterday. And I still, even a day game after a night game, I can't believe they put this guy out there at this point, but they do, and they did, and they still won 8-4. It was great to watch, and Cash gets ejected, which I was happy to see. He was animated, and well, he should have been. The umpires did not handle this series very well. I don't, I'm not very learned on each umpiring crew and whatever, but just this crew in particular seems really young and really dumb. Like, they just don't seem to handle things very well. I will say this, though. The guy was at home plate. There was either a foul ball or a wild ball. If it was a foul ball, straight back, hit something in the stanchion and popped right back to him, like on a line. And the dude goes, so I caught it with well, it foul ball, boom, and it comes like on a line, on a seed right back at him. and about shoulder high, and he just reaches out and grabs it with the bare hand. Got a standing ovation from the crowd. I'm like, damn ump, that's the best play of the day right there. But then they had this part where the Astros player goes to swing, 2 strikes, hits the butt of the bat, and the home plate umpire calls him out because he attempted a swing and hit the butt of the bat. I didn't know this rule, to be quite honest. And that's a strikeout. And then they say, oh, we're going to go to a review, and Cash is like, review what? And we're going to put him on first base. They're going to have to come back out. And after talking to Espada, the Astros manager, they say, okay, yeah, he's going to it hit him. We're going to award him first base. And then Cash is like, are you out of your mind? And he comes out of the dugout and gets tossed because he was hot. They had to hold him back. But it's good to see some emotion from him. I mean, it's the stuff that fans have watched and we've watched all year long. That's so frustrating. We want to see the damn manager get pissed off, and finally he did, and that was good. So we got a little bit of everything yesterday. And then we had 2 really bad plays on the base. So Simpson's at third, 1 out. Right? Yeah, Simpson's at third, 1 out, infield in. Right? Contact play. They do it all the time. If they get the infield is in. It's 1 out. And so ball's hit. It's hit sharply right to Altuve. Easy play. And he's like 10 steps behind the pitcher, if that. Easy play at home, out by 10 feet. Like, why? Why are we doing this? And then the next play, I think Curtis Meade got picked off. And it's like two outs on the bases. I'm not exactly sure who was who on that, to be honest with you. But the point is, once again, stupid contact play. You run yourself out of two base runners in scoring position with a team that can't hit with runners in scoring position. Like this, you can't continue to make these elementary fundamental mistakes when you're a team like this. You're a low payroll team. You got to beat teams with your smarts. You've got to play smart baseball, which is what the Rays used to do all the time when they were a good team. But time and time again, we're making these stupid. And this is, I guess, again, I don't know if anybody asked them about it after the game. I didn't see the press conference, but like, why are you doing this? A sharply hit ball, runner on third is 1 out. You got to read the play.
Situational hitting, JP. We talked about it yesterday.
Situational base running. Like if he hits it right at Altuve on 1 hop, don't go. Go back to third base. Let the next guy have a chance to knock you in. Like, I don't get this. I just don't get it.
And we know that he wasn't sent by the team. Do we know he wasn't sent by the team?
They do it every time. Yeah, I'm saying, okay. They do this every time. Okay. If you're on third, and even if they teams always bring the infield in, yep. and if you're on third, if they make contact, you're supposed to go. I guess. I don't know. We do it every single time, and we're thrown out by 10 feet every time. This has to be at least the 5th or 6th time this has happened this year. I don't get it.
Seems like you wouldn't want to do that with 2 outs.
1 out.
Well, I know, but you don't want it to end the inning. You want to end the inning with a guy getting thrown out in that situation for sure. Like, I don't know.
I mean, we do it with no outs. We do it with 1 out, with a runner on third. And if the ball goes through, you score. I guess there's what they're feeling, and the analytics tell you is they have to field it, throw it to home. You got to tag the guy out. You got to make him make a play. That seems very little leaguish to me.
Yeah.
In
Major League players.
Major League Baseballs are going to field the ball and throw it home and tag you out every single time. And I don't get it. And maybe I'm missing something. Somebody can enlighten me on this, but in the I was always taught, less than 2 outs, freeze on a line drive.
Yeah.
Go back to the base. If they catch, if the infield's back, okay, maybe, make it's a little bit more difficult play, but it wasn't. The infield's in. So 1 hopper to Altuve. It was like casual as can be. Yeah. And knew that he was going to go home. Like you knew, like didn't even, there wasn't a let me check to see if the runner's going home and then I'll go to first. They knew it because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And
and teams will scout that. Make no
Sure they
mistake,
will.
teams know that. The
Yeah.
Astros knew that.
Yeah.
So, which makes it even more predictable, right? When you're expecting
Ray Kenny said, you said a team that can't hit with runners in scoring position. That's why you take chances. It's not, that's a dumb chance though, Ray.
Yeah. It's a very
It's
low
dumb.
probability play.
Yeah, I'm all for sending a runner, coming around third, and a guy in the outfield's got to make a throw. I'm all for that. That's when you can't have hits and runners with scoring position, and you get one, and you got it's a 50-50 play. Send them every time, but not when they're when the infield's in. It's an easy play. If you catch it, you throw it to home, you put the tag on. Even with Simpson running, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, but they're much smarter than me. I know that.
It sounds
James
like another one of
says,
those press conference questions you're not allowed to ask.
I guess. Guys, Rays runners have been thrown out at home with less than 2 outs at least 5 times that I've seen. It's a joke. I agree. I don't understand all those throwouts where the infield is in. Yeah. All right. We'll ask Rich. Maybe he has an answer. I don't have one. The Rays are going to do it, then maybe bunt. Yeah. Yeah. But at least that's a bit of a harder play. But it seems like every time
in though,
you hit, it's like you're actually getting good contact, and but if you hit it right at the guy and he fields it, you're toast. So, yeah. Anyway, forgot to actually mention this at the top of the show, and we need to. Kenneth McClary said, "Hey JP, I'm asking again for thoughts and prayers for my daughter. She is facing a serious and risky surgery to stop aneurysms in her carotid artery. Thank you and everyone for this." Yep. Let's take a moment. Dear Lord, we just ask you to lift up Kenneth and his daughter in this procedure, and we know you're going to pull him through. We're sending all the love and the healing vibes to Kenneth. Please bless her, bring her through. Amen, brother. Amen, brother. Amen. Yeah, that's we talk about baseball and fun and all this stuff. That's serious stuff. So you're one of the crew here, Kenneth, and we love you, brother. And we just wish you the best, man. We wish you the best. All the healing vibes going out. Rick said it too. We're on it, Kenneth. May God watch over you and your daughter. He's still the God of miracles. Indeed, indeed. Douglas Batista, Kenneth, thoughts and prayers for your daughter. Absolutely. Nice. So yeah, keep us posted, buddy. Keep us posted. Please. Rick says, with JP in attendance, Curtis Mead looked and said, "Hold my Foster's mate," and showed him. Then both lows hit bombs, and JP F you as they circle the bases. Yep. I even said it. I said to my lovely host, said, "Hey, I've been dogging this guy for a week now. It's about time he stepped up, because as we all know, when I start dogging a Rays player publicly, they start coming through."
F you.
I'll take it. Keep hitting home runs, and you can F you me all you want, Curtis Mead. Right. You played a good game yesterday. Keep it up. Keep it up. We're rooting for you, but not that much.
By the way, it was Yandy Díaz's 800th career game.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, congrats to Yandy.
How about that?
We have his bomb too, don't we?
Yeah, you want to see it now?
After I say this about Douglas Batista. Said, talking to media about the non-sellout yesterday, tomorrow night there are tons of seats, 216, 217 priced at 104. Attendance is an ownership issue. Many refuse to support a greedy owner. I mean, he's absolutely 100% correct.
100%. Yep.
Now, the fact that we sold out all the season tickets that were available, and at drastically inflated rates. Okay, every one of the seats in the lower bowl was, I think, $100 at least, and that's not baseball. Baseball tickets are not meant to be that, and we sold them out. And now the people that bought the season tickets are taking a bath on their tickets because they could barely sell them for 20 more market price, 25, right. 30, $40. So the good news is you can get a ticket for a low price. So head on down, go to your Tick Pick, StubHub, whatever, and pick up some tickets because it's still Major League Baseball. And the night games are fine. It was a beautiful night last night. As hot as it was during the day, it was an absolutely gorgeous night. So, once they get back to night games, it'll be fine, like this weekend. So head on out there. And we said this all the time, as much as it hurts, support the team. This is an important time. because we don't want Major League Baseball looking at this and saying, "Oh my God, people are still not showing up." We don't.
Why
need
was
that.
it a day game? The Astros they obviously had to travel, but
getaway day, and again in the shade it was fine. It's fine in the shade, but
there's probably not a lot of shade out there, though, is there?
No, there's not. There's not. We're going to continue to play here at Steinbrenner for the next couple of years, and that's a big if because I guess they're going to repair the Trop. Horrible idea. But you could extend the shade roof out over. That would be a really good idea because it's direct sunlight. It's brutal. It's brutal, as we all know.
Yeah.
Good morning to you, Nathan Elliott, my friend.
Hello, Nathan.
Douglas says, I was an LA Clipper season ticket holder for 19 years.
Wow.
The entire changed when Ballmer bought the team, kept players, built arena, built 100 community basketball courts in LA, affordable tickets for the everyday man. Yeah, it's not hard.
That's how it should be.
Not hard to be a good owner. I mean, you're a billionaire. It's really not hard. Or you're a multi-billionaire. But hey, Stu's got enough money to do it, but I guess not.
Just priorities. Prioritize the fans. Prioritize the fans. They're the one paying you.
Yeah. By the way, I had a nice conversation with our good friend Brody Brazil yesterday.
Uh-oh.
No, it's good. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. I'm going on his show next week, and we're going to have him on my show. I don't know a whole lot about the intricacies of the A's situation, as he doesn't know about the Rays situation. So we were filling each other in on that stuff because as you all know, you can't believe what you read in the media. You got to go to the people that are really involved and understand it and find out what's going on. So, I look forward to having him on our show and vice versa.
That'll be fun for everybody.
Yeah. I heard that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Kill the dog.
I killed the toy.
The dog or the
already
toy.
Killed the toy.
Killed the toy.
Got it right here. Had to take it away.
Thank you. God, I don't know why it's nails on a chalkboard.
That's crazy. That you hate
By the way,
I have so much.
I have to out Ashley on this.
Uh-oh.
She got a shock collar for the little one. Not my dog, but the little one. The little one.
Oh, I thought you meant for the kid. When you said the little one, I'm like, oh, that's one way to do it.
Not a terrible idea, frankly. But anyway, kidding. We're kidding. No, so she went and got a pound dog for whatever reason. I don't know. A couple of years ago. And this dog is just like, when it sees other dogs, it literally has a conniption. It makes noises that you've never heard before in your life. They're not barking noises. They're just, I don't know where they come from. He just has to go over there and smell that butt or whatever. It's just like the dog is just freaks out when it sees another dog. And a lot of people will take it as aggressive, but it's not. Yeah. It's just, it's
curiosity,
dying for attention and a sniff. It's not an aggressive dog, but it freaks out and it freaks people out. It's like, rah, rah, rah. It's just awful. And so we can't, and no matter how much you yell at him, and he still makes these really embarrassing noises. And so she bought a shock collar, and we're going to find out if it works, because I don't think it will. This dog, it's one of those dogs that just has a meatball for a brain. It doesn't learn. Unlike my fabulous dog, it has a meatball for a brain.
I should have tried that last night at the old number 7 club at the AAC. Just walking up to a
shock collar.
I'm sorry, miss. Can I sniff your butt?
Listen, the dogs have it right, man.
Right. They don't even ask. They just walk up and start doing it.
No. Yeah. It's just like, get right up in there. Get right up in there. That's how they say hello.
Mark.
They have people walking around picking up their crap. I'm like, that'd be great for me. Just like whatever you want, just drop trowel right. I think I'll take a dump right here. Let Junior clean it up when I'm done.
I mean, we've
who's
all
the idiot here, right? Like we're running around with these. We got to clean that up. Anyway, great win for the Rays last night and yesterday, and it was a fun experience. I love the stadium. Absolutely love the stadium. Easy to park, easy out. It's great. It's fantastic. And I can't believe we're going to go back to the Trop. I just can't believe it. And Lord knows what that place is going to look and smell like.
Fans are going to hate it.
I mean, you think they're going to spend the extra money to make it really nice? No.
Yeah. Now you got 3 against the Blue Jays, right?
Yeah.
Starting Friday.
which, they're gettable. They're very gettable. And that's with the exception of those 2 base running errors yesterday. I thought the Rays were great. They stole bases. They got hits. They hit the ball. They played great defense yesterday. They pitched well for the most part. Tush got it beat up a little bit early on, but for the most part, they did great. Isaac Paredes just saying, "Yeah, trade me." It's just hitting bombs. Imagine if we still had Paredes. Still had Paredes, and Caminero was playing first, and we got Aranda. We can mix and match and find play. Just get the bats in the damn lineup. Get them in the lineup. Give guys days off, move them around, but just keep the bats in the lineup. That's a bat it's a right-handed bat you just can't give away, and we did. But that's ancient history. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Rich Hollenberg is going to join us, and we'll talk a little bit more Rays baseball and probably some music and all kinds of fun stuff that we do with Rich all the time. First hour is presented by the great folks at OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Go to their website, see all the great work they do if you need some restoration work or new construction, commercial or residential, OnSiteConstructionFL.com. And, of course, the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Head to the website when you get involved in an accident or just give them a call, and they will take care of everything for you. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Important to have a local law firm. Trust me on that. JeevesLawGroup.com. Back in the 3 with Rich Hollenberg. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at on-site construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We're having a little issue getting the link to Rich. My bad.
Uh-oh.
He will be popping up here in just a second. So tell somebody something great about one of our wonderful.
Look, I don't know. I'm not in Tampa with JP, so I don't know a lot about a lot of the sponsors. I know they're all great people and great companies, but the one that I can talk about for sure is Cafe Paradiso. Cafe Paradiso, yes. I did have the privilege and honor of experiencing it's a dining experience. It is not even a fine dining experience. It is just a dining experience. And it changed my life. JP can attest to this. As much as I talked about it for weeks after I got back to Dallas. And
that's a damn good live read right there. I never said that.
I'm like, I need to find a place like this in Dallas. And you know what? And I also said it ruined Olive Garden for me, which it did. I haven't. I've been back one time, and it was just a severe disappointment. But I've been trying since October, JP, when I was in Tampa, to find a place like Cafe Paradiso here in Dallas, and I have yet.
You won't find it. It's one of a kind. It's not a chain. That's why we love it.
Makes me angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So check out Cafe Paradiso over there.
Whenever I go to new cities, I never why would you go to a chain restaurant when you go to Dallas or go to a new city? Like I will refuse to go to any chain restaurants whatsoever.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Carmine's is the original. They have some offshoot, but
Sure.
Portillo's, same thing. You're going to go to the original in Chicago, you can do that. But, if they're good enough, they franchise, right? If you can go to the original, like if it's a Hooters, you got the original in Tampa. If you're out of town, you go to the original, right? Yep. So, but there is no Cafe Paradiso anywhere else.
There is no
substitute. It's the one and only, and that's why you got to go. That's where you got. I haven't been a little bit. I got to get over there. See Paul.
It's amazing. Johnny's going to be in town. You guys need to head over there.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. Actually, you know what? I think tonight would be a perfect night. Would be a perfect night for that. So
just brag.
Cafe Paradiso. All right, let's welcome in our good friend, a guy who knows a little something about great restaurants, the great Hollenberg, joining us here. What's up, Rich? How are you?
How are you, JP? This is a self-service show. I had a weasel my way into StreamYard to get on with it.
Well, you did it. You did it. You found us. It's fantastic. I think I know why there's a new background for you. We haven't had you on since the storm, and I know you went through a hell of a lot over there.
Yes, sir. We are in the final stages. Almost 8 months later. Isn't that crazy? But
my good friend Jeff Italiano, he just posted something the other day. Like, we finally get to sit down for a meal in our own kitchen. Yeah, I'm like, wow.
I'm back in my office for the first time. Haven't even had a chance to hang my Springsteen picture.
I see that. Yes, I see that. I see the boss and the big man behind you there. Back in the better days.
That's right.
For the boss. How are you, partner? It's good to see you.
It's good to be seen. Great.
No heat stroke from the post-game show yesterday?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It was hot. I was there at the game yesterday. It was
hot.
That was a hot one. That was hot. Yeah. We don't need day games are going to be a little hard from here on
out. I'm sure you probably saw Mark Topkin's article. It was only the second game that was not at least an announced air quotes sellout. I think that we will see at least a small handful more of those based on the weather.
Yeah, it is what it is. But the fact that they've had 26 of 29 or 28, 7 of 29 or something like that, that's pretty good. And all the season tickets were sold for the most part. So I think it's been a good response in Tampa. Would you agree?
Yes, and I think everybody has done what everybody should do, which is embrace it because
Yep.
it's not going to change.
Right.
So it takes just as much energy to celebrate it than to bitch about it. So
Yeah.
why wallow in the mire and complain when there's nothing good that can come of it at this point?
Yeah. Of course, I was up in the suite yesterday with temperature control in the shade, eating Kobe burgers and having beers. So it was fine for me. I don't know what everybody's bitching about.
Yeah, it was optimal for JP.
Yes, it was indeed. Well, that's how you do the game. So, I'm just trying to take after you.
Right.
But what I thought, as opposed to some other games, and I don't need to tell you this, yesterday was entertaining as hell. That was fun to watch. That was really, really fun to watch. Both teams, really. The Astros, watching Paredes hit bombs, maybe not, in an ironic kind of way, not so fun. But that was a fun game to watch. It was entertaining. Yeah. We finally got some offense.
I will say this. I wouldn't say it's the only game or the first game at home this season. Probably the second, because I think back to that game where they came back and won against the Yankees 10-8 a few weeks back. But other than that game, this was the first game where it was like Steinbrenner Field was on display.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone kept saying coming into this season, the ball's going to be flying all over the place, flying out of the ball yard. And we saw that from the visitors for most of this homestand of the season, but we didn't see it much from the Rays. And yesterday we did 4 home runs. I don't think they've done that in a few years in a game, which was good to see. And look, obviously Isaac Paredes and company knocked a couple out of the ballpark too, but that was a complete win. And that is optimal Tampa Bay Rays. You get pitching from Taj Bradley, despite that 2-run home run that he gave up to Isak, he was really, really sharp. And then the bullpen comes in and gives up all but, I think, 2 hits and a couple of runs late. But you know what? The offense backed them up. And that is not something that we've been able to talk about this year much, if not at all. So you had great defense. You had just stellar pitching, if not spectacular. And anytime you score 8 runs, you're going to win a ball game 99% of the time. I want to say the Rays are now 14-1 when they score 5 or more runs.
Just 5. Wow. That's a hell of a stat right there. And, some of those home runs were, I'd say, win-aided. Is that way to put it? Like Bilal's home run was funny. Like that was funny. His reaction, even the call on TV, I think it was Andy Fried's call. Like he was shocked.
Yeah.
The thing you do as a play-by-play guy is, is you look at the outfielder, right?
Right.
The outfielder's not moving. It's like he's camping under this, and Bilal put his head down. You're like, okay, fly ball. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. That's the time. That's the rare time when a home run call ends in a question mark instead of an exclamation point.
Yes. Well said. Well said. But that's going to be part of it. Do you think the heat yesterday was part of that? The ball 100%. Going out? And
the thing that surprised me, the heat shouldn't and doesn't surprise any of us, right? We all live here. We know. But I think the wind is something that is real. And I didn't know about that until I started broadcasting from the field at the start of this season. There is a constant breeze inside Steinbrenner Field, and that breeze can very quickly and capriciously turn into gusts at any given time. And Brian Anderson, our terrific analyst, always likes to poke fun at our director, Gary Nichols, because Gary likes to take shots of the flags blowing out.
Like Paul,
he never had that in 28 years covering the Tampa Bay Rays, and he always makes fun of Gary Nichols, saying, "Oh, our director is taking shots of the clouds and the sky and the flags." But
take advantage of it while you can. Yeah,
it plays a part in the game. It certainly does.
Yeah, and those flags were at times really going yesterday. And I think, and I know D-Wayne's mentioned this a couple times, the fact that there's not an upper deck, which is rare, obviously, in major league stadiums, makes a difference.
Yeah,
right.
Doesn't protect you from the elements blowing in or blowing out.
Yeah, and it's like it was even because sitting on the third base line, you could see the balls that go to left field just die. Even Isaac Paredes, the first one, I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's going to get out. And he crushed that ball. Yeah. You could see it like hit the zenith, and it just starts to die. It's like one of my pitching wedges, and it starts almost coming back at you. And
flop shot.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, but again, now the second one he hit was that cut through the air pretty good. But the balls to right field, even the one Curtis Mead hit, which started at like center field, and it just took the wind and it went right out. So, and now at some point, it seems Yandy's got the hang of this. That the right-handers are going to just start feeding that ball into the jet stream. And is it something that they work on pregame, going the opposite way, getting the ball up in the air?
Yeah, that's a great question, JP. And it's something that we talked about on our shows from Jump Street. Doug brought this up right at the beginning of the season because we're thinking Brandon Lau's going to hit 40 bombs. Josh Lowe's going to hit 30 bombs. All the lefty bats are going to benefit. And Doug was the first one to bring it up. He said, watch out for Junior Caminero.
Right.
Because Junior's natural swing is not a pull power swing. It's going to center and to right. And Yandy's been doing that ever since he stepped foot on a baseball field. Yeah. That's also, vintage Yandy Díaz. Love to see him lift the ball just a little bit more, especially given the elements and the circumstances.
God, yes.
And we're starting to see that a little bit. But, Yandy's swing is always he's going to go center to right, inside out,
and flat.
And I think
I love his level swing.
Yeah,
that thing is just it's beautiful.
From Junior Caminero right now. Junior has 8 home runs, and all of his home. Remember how we used to love Isaac Paredes? Speaking of, because every one of his moonshots would go to left,
pull left.
And we would track that on Google Cloud on Statcast 3D, and it's like you could just draw one line. Because they're all the same. Well, Junior is similar, but Junior's all going to center and right center. And it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really and Yandy hit the ball hard, I think, 3 or 4 times yesterday, not just and that one to center field. Wow. Woo. That was about 30 feet up.
He's hit in a Rays uniform.
Yeah, that was about 30 feet up the batter's eye wall. That was a bomb.
Right.
Yeah. And fun to see. And I got to ask you about this. So I think it was Simpson was on third with 1 out yesterday. And this contact play, is this the law for Rays baseball? It's like, can we not see what? Maybe we'll wait to see if it gets through. Nah, we're going. Like every time, do we have to do this?
This is what troubles me is that you and I are so like-minded on.
We're old school baseball.
That really does scare me, JP.
Yeah, I know.
In all the years,
but we grew up at the same time when our little league coaches were like, freeze on a line drive, wait to see it go through, and then you go. I'm like, what? This elementary baseball, but how many times have we been thrown out at the plate with less than 2 outs?
I know. We started tracking it, and we haven't followed up on it in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. But the Rays did lead all of Major League Baseball in outs on the base paths. And I didn't realize this until I looked that stat up. That outs on the base paths does not include caught stealing. And the Rays have been caught stealing a bunch too. Now, some of this, and I'm not, I'm not an apologist for the team I cover.
You are not.
Some of this is because they went into this season just like they went into last season. We are going to be aggressive on the base paths, full stop. They don't draw a line between here's the situation, here's who's at third base running right now, here's who's at the plate trying to execute this contact play. I think they have it in their head that we know who we are. We don't score a lot of runs, given notwithstanding yesterday.
Maybe that's part of the reason.
Every time we get in this position, this is what we are going to do. And from our perspective, and let's take away the fact that we are media members covering the team, just as baseball fans, you look at it and it could get maddening. Like, why are they doing this every single time?
Running into outs at home plate and foul by 10 feet.
At some point, as Joe Madden used to always say, water will find its level. And at some point, they're going to go on a rip here where over the course of 2 weeks, they're going to run 5 contact plays and they're going to score all 5 times. And we're going to be sitting here with our hat in our hands going, oh, it makes sense now.
We're looking forward to that day.
I know.
No question about it. Rich Hollenberg joining us here. By the way, you have lots of fans in our comments today. Our great friend Emily Peters said, my two favorite guys right there. And then Daniel Rivera says, I remember seeing Rich on the old Vision cable way back when. Vision cable. I thought he was going to go the old Daily Sports Source, but Vision Cable.
Vision Cable even predates you and me working together.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I will say this, JP. Jill in the other room, when I told her I was coming in here to talk to you, she said, you and BF and JP need to have a podcast together.
Yes.
Just putting it out there.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I have this beautiful studio now here in South Tampa, so come on over. I'll even buy you lunch. It'll be fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? I'll make Fasulo buy it. He's rich now.
Right. So, get it catered from Cafe Paradiso.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll get Paulo to come and we get another mic and let him yell and scream.
I love it. You're speaking my love language.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah, that's got to happen. And also, Daniel brings up another famous alum of the Newhouse School of Syracuse, the Rich went to Mike Tirico et al. Yeah, so many more. So absolutely, yes, we he's bringing. There it is. Yeah, and Fasula's daughter Avery just graduated from Syracuse.
How about that? Right
there, you go.
Yeah,
it all comes full circle. All right, so as we move forward here to the dog days of summer, you guys are hopefully going back in the studio to cool off.
Yeah,
how are you gonna keep doing shows out there?
Yeah, well, I think we're going to be selective about the shows we choose. We just started having, some conversations about next weekend when obviously Evan Longoria is going to have his ceremonial retirement announcement. So it feels to me like it would be important to be there for that.
Yeah,
I know after covering him for so long, I would like to be there for that. And we're going to have to be selective because Mother Nature is ultimately going to have its say. Mm-hmm. If it comes down to even a drop of rain or the threat of a drop of rain, that means it's rain delay theater, and I star in that play. So we need a studio for rain delay theater. And fortunately, it's only 10 minutes away from Steinbrenner Field, so there could be some fluidity in those decisions.
Yeah, somebody who just asked where you guys do that, and the studio is not far from Steinbrenner. It's up off of Waters, I believe, right?
So
we can't give you the exact location, Thomas, because people like you will be stalking my man here. Absolutely. Tim, you have anything for Rich you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little Chandler Simpson, Rich. He's sort of, the favorite now, a fan favorite, clearly for good reason. He's not even at 100 at-bats yet for the season, but I feel like he's quickly earning his way into a full-time lineup situation. I know they're kind of hiding him a little bit and not letting him play in certain situations against certain pitchers. How long before, in a season where the Rays are really struggling right now offensively, are they just going to throw him in there and say, let's see what you got against everybody?
It's a great question, Tim. And by the way, it's nice to meet you and good to talk to you.
Yes, you too as well.
I think that I think they are being judicious with their use of Chandler Simpson at this point. He's only 24 years old. This is his first real taste of what it's like to be part of a major league roster. But the more you see him play, I mean, dude's on a 7-game hitting streak right now. He's not all about the bags.
Yeah. No,
he's got a hit tool.
He can hit.
And what we say at FanDuel Sports Network, and I credit BA with this, he said, every hit with Chandler Simpson is an extra base hit. Not because he's hitting doubles and triples, but because you put that dude on first base and you can almost lock it in that he's going to be on second, if not third. Now, he has gotten caught a couple of times, which shocks everybody knowing his minor league stolen base numbers. But I think that goes along with a little bit of a learning curve. Mm-hmm. And the problem is we've become so used to seeing and succeeding with Yandy in the leadoff spot. Then it's like, well, do you put Chandler second in the lineup? Because that doesn't really make sense. You want more of a power back in the second.
He should be first. This Yandy in the leadoff spot drives me crazy too.
Well, could and should are two different things. I think he could, and I think what you're going to see more of the Rays doing and Kevin Cash and company deciding is looking at who's pitching, looking at the opposition, and playing the matchups that way. And that's what they specialize in. That's what they hang their hat on anyway, with their pitching staff and otherwise. Yesterday was a perfect example. You look at that lineup and you're like scratching your head. You're like, they're going out and trying to win a series against the Astros with the lineup the way it's constructed. And you walk away.
Exactly
going,
what I said on the show yesterday.
All the right buttons. What a genius. That's baseball.
100%. I'm like, Simpson in the 6 hole?
Yeah,
What sense
you're going to get some of those. But it worked. And the one thing more than anything else that the Tampa Bay Rays value is versatility.
Yeah.
And the more they can mix things up, the more they feel like they keep the opposition on their heels. And when you keep your opposition on your heels with the kind of pitching that the Rays have, I think they feel like they give themselves the best chance to win. That said, to your point, Tim, I think it will be sooner than later that we'll see Chandler Simpson either in the 9 hole or the 1 hole on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I'd like to see a Yandy in 2 or 3 holes so that he can, when he hits those singles, and he's not a power hitter,
right? Yesterday,
notwithstanding, those singles will mean more. Is because I don't think there's that many when you got guys in the bottom half of the lineup that are hitting 098. Oh wait, I'm sorry, 088. My bad, Ben. Sorry. My bad.
Wow.
By the way, Danny Jansen on base 22 of the last 23 games.
Yes, I was bitching about that yesterday. I'm like, yeah, I know, night game, day game, the backup catcher plays. Danny Jansen's finally getting hot. You got a day off on Thursday. You asked Danny if he wants to play yesterday, he'd probably say, yeah, I definitely want to play. But we had to put 088 out there, so that's fine. But that's how that works sometimes. And I want to see Danny come off the bench for at least a pinch hitter yesterday.
Right.
But I didn't. I guess he was like, nope, we're not doing that. Anyway, I get frustrated with a lot of Cash's decisions this year, and it's been this year more than any year I think I can ever remember because I'm a huge Kevin Cash fan. With lineups, Curtis Meade playing instead of Aranda. We haven't even talked about Aranda. God, I love watching that guy play. Mm-hmm. I love watching him hit. I won't miss an at-bat. He's so good. He's so balanced. He reminds me of, I talk about Tony Gwynn. I talk about Rod Carew. Those guys from left side that just they track the ball so well and they seem to hit it on the barrel every single time. And I think, that guy needs to play every day. I don't care if it's a lefty, righty, octopus, ambidextrous. I don't care. Let him play. And the same with Simpson. I would put him at the top of the lineup, let him learn center field. You ain't going to learn sitting on the bench and let him go. But that's just me. I'm impatient. I want to see these young guys play. And I think we got a lot of good pieces. And when they sit them down, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, let's go. I want to see Simpson play every single day, but I know there's a lot more to it than that. So
those decisions are only going to be made harder because you have Johnny DeLuca coming back from an injury, hopefully sooner than later. Jake Mangum, who really popped and splashed in his first month as a big leaguer. He's coming back sooner than later. There's going to be a real logjam in the outfield, especially, and some tough decisions are going to have to be made. And I think juggling the lineup, it's a good problem to have, but it also causes some frustration when it doesn't work out. Because when it doesn't work out, that's the 2 runs and 1 runs and shutouts.
And we've seen a lot of that.
Way too often.
Yeah. All right, what else is going on in the Rich Hollenberg world? Break-in, breakthrough sportscasting. I know you're pumping that out there. You're helping a lot of youngsters get into the world of sportscasting.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. We're coming up this June. It's going to be my 20th cohort that I've run. Very blessed, knock wood. We've sold every one of them out. We have over 200 alumni who are in this sportscasting community. And now we're starting to just look at how can we grow? How can we touch more people and impact more people? Not just people who are, laser focused on getting into sportscasting. Maybe you're just curious about hearing from people in the business who you look up to and you admire. So there are some events that we're planning that are coming down the road. We had our first one last month. Laura Rutledge headlined that. She was fantastic. I don't know if you know her at all.
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
Girl,
she's been on our show.
Girl,
Yeah.
Don't hold that against her. But I've known her for years, worked with her at ESPN, and she's just an absolute gem. Congratulations to her. She and the NFL Live team just won their first Emmy, so that was well deserved. But more things like that are coming down the road, and I'm humbled and honored because JP, I know this, and I know our outsized egos notwithstanding, what I'm doing now in the break-in and breakthrough space is going to be my legacy, much more so than any game I call or any show I host. So I'm just glad to be able to do it and give back to an industry that's given me so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. All right. Any good fun trips planned? Any of that good stuff? Places you've been? Things you've done?
The studio is going to be dark, and this is the first time this has happened in the dozen years I've covered the Tampa Bay Rays. Our studio is dark in June for a week, so that means that I am on a forced vacation.
Oh.
And my personal travel agent, Jill Hollenberg, has booked us on a trip to hike Machu Picchu.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I'm so jealous.
So
on my bucket list. Yeah.
If and when we survive, I will bring back pictures and stories for you.
Yes, we got to get you on the cast after that. Absolutely. That'll be fun. Well, stay safe on that journey as well. And hopefully see you around the yard soon as well. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Great talking to you guys.
The great Rich Hollenberg right there. 4-time Emmy winner, breaking sportscasting. Good stuff.
It's a good dude right there.
Yeah, he's the best. We do have to do a Fasulo and Rich and JP podcast. Absolutely. It's too easy not to. Yeah. Because we don't even need a script.
No,
we don't need a rundown. Lord knows where that would go. Lord knows where that might go.
Pure gold audio.
We got to find out if you can, in your exhaustive research, get a shot of the guys, all three of us on the set of the Daily Sports Source. I think I have a pic that somebody sent me of the whole crew. I'll have to find it. It's that was a show that we did on Fox Sports Net in the early aughts. We were hawking. We did it at HSN. Apologize for you that have heard the story before. But we were, we'd go in the big studio and we'd have a sports talk show, and Rich would run point, and we'd bring up topics that would happen like the night before. A-Rod hit his 400th home run, and we have an autographed A-Rod bat that you can buy right now. Call 1-800. Yeah. So I'd say this is why A-Rod's going to be a Hall of Famer. Or maybe I should use a different example.
Yeah, maybe so.
Derek Jeter. We have a Derek Jeter bat. That's and then Fasulo would close the deal and tell you how much it's going to be worth and why you should buy it, and it's a great investment. So we would do this on all these different topics, and it was a super fun show. And we got the phones ringing. We did it for I think about 3 years. We did it, but it was fun. We need to bring that show back. I think people would love that show.
And they would what did that air on?
On Fox Sports. And it was it was everywhere. It was in 80 million homes. It was from noon to 1 every day, like FS1 is now. I guess it would be comparable FS1. So yeah, it was like 80, 100 million homes. And we traveled to the All-Star games. They'd send us to NFL. My favorite one was we were at the Super Bowl, and it was in Atlanta. And I did one of the days, and it iced over. Remember when Atlanta iced over? This was like 2000, maybe 01, and it iced over. And so I'm sitting there, and it was doing this thing called a webcast. It was a webcast. Nobody had heard of it. And I was going to sit there for 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours with Joe Montana.
Holy crap.
Because we sold a lot of his stuff. We had one of the marketing companies, memorabilia companies, represented Joe. And we would sell a ton of his stuff. So it was like, let's do a webcast at the Super Bowl. And JP and Joe can sit there for 3 hours and talk. And I sat there with Joe Montana for like 3 hours. But the funny part is, or not so funny, he's walking in. It's Jock and Jill's in Atlanta, Craig Sager's old place. Great, one of the great original sports bars. Amazing. And it was kind of a private outdoor pavilion. So they had the heaters on and everything, but he was stepping off the outdoor streets, and all the streets and sidewalks were iced over. So he walks through and people are like, yeah, Joe Montana's here. And he does a right at feet, right out from under him. Boom, right on the tailbone. And he's like, oh. So he comes over and he's like, trying to play it off. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm getting a little old, blah, blah, blah. And he hit hard. And so he sits down with me and he's like, do we have any breaks on this thing? I'm like, yeah, I think we can build a couple. Like, we're doing this on the air. Yeah. And he's like, we go to break. He's like, dude, like, I think I may have broken my tailbone. This is bad. And the guy's like, and the producer's like, you can't leave. You can't leave now.
Yeah.
So I think we cut it a little short, but he was like there for 2 hours. And, he did a hell of a, I commend him, and he did a hell of a job, and he was very nice and very, we chatted about it and we made it as fun as we could. But that was that was over and that was on FS1. But the funnier, and then after the Super Bowl, we were at the players' party. So at this place called the Tabernacle, which is an old church, this beautiful old church that they now have concerts in. It's a party hall and everything. And there's a lot of interesting rooms. So my setup was in the bar, the NFL players bar. And this is big bar, beautiful wood everywhere. And, you got a DJ going. So I'm set up in there doing live television, right? And I'm supposed to, bring players over and talk about the Super Bowl. And then, by the way, we have a Joe Montana football, blah, 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 that we're selling as well. We have this. We have all this NFL merchandise that we're selling. Oh, and the Ravens, I think the Ravens won that Super Bowl. I forget. Or was it the Rams? It was the Rams. Anyway, so we're selling hawking all the gear.
Yeah.
And I'm in this kind of enclosed bar area. It's like, whew, wow, there's a lot of weed being smoked in here tonight. And I'm telling the producer, I'm like, there is a strong odor of cannabis wafting through the bar here. And I'm like scheduled to be there for 2 hours.
You're going to get so high.
High as a motherfucker. I was like, about a half hour in, I was like, yo, Producer Joe, I am higher than a kite.
Can somebody bring me some pizza?
I'm interviewing guys. They're like, hey, man.
Oh, my God.
I said, I don't think this is how we envisioned this.
No, but I bet it was gold.
It was fun. I wish I had video of that. I wish I would like to see the tape of that, because I remembered I was interviewing there would be a lot of big name players in there, and it was smoky. And that was an interesting weekend in Atlanta.
My God.
For the Daily Sports Source.
Can't believe JP almost killed Joe Montana.
Yeah. God. That was I haven't seen it. I've not seen him since. And I would love to just like, hey, you remember? He'd be like, oh yeah.
Does your tailbone remember?
He's like, I still remember every time I sit down. That was a bad one.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. Well, we need another break. So let's hit a break. We'll come back on the other side. I want to get to Tush Push Gate. Some controversy around this. One of the greatest quotes ever from an NFL owner in the Diana Rossini story about this is, which I can't wait to tell you. This was fun. We got to talk about the basketball game last night and what would have been one of the most epic gestures in sports history. But so we'll get to that. And you were at the hockey game last night. We gotta get that as well. So we are brought to you by the great folks at OnsiteConstructionFL.com. They are your first hour presenter. We appreciate them. Go to their website and check out all the great work they do. So if you're thinking about adding something on, or you had some work done over to restore your kitchen or something by another contractor that did a crappy job, they can come in and fix that as well. You should have hired them in the first place, right? But you didn't know about them till now. OnsiteConstructionFL.com. Great folks over there. Jason Fawcett is the owner. Does a fantastic job. Great reputation. 5-star reviews all over the place. Hard to find a contractor that gets 5-star reviews. It really, really is. But they do great work. Go to the website and check it out and see what they do. And then you can schedule a free meeting with them. Jason will be happy to come over and meet with you, look at your house, tell you what's possible, get some of those creative ideas going, right? It's a great idea. OnsiteConstructionFL.com is the website. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. You know, we told you about the amazing Diamond Savings Account where your diamond never loses its value. Well, now, through the end of May, the Gold and Diamond Source will double your trade-in value up to $2,500. Just bring in your jewelry to trade and your $2,500 piece turns into $5,000. It's time to upgrade that ring, earrings, whatever. We have gemologists on site to make the deal. Double your trade value up to $2,500. Gets you $5,000 to spend. So go through your jewelry box and get that stuff you never wear and get something new and stylish that you're going to love. Great experience, and we will double your trade-in now till the end of May. We can finance you as well. No interest for 5 years. Only at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldanddiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, Tampa Bay, it's time to get your AC unit ready for summer. And here at Third Generation Plumbing and Mechanical, we recommend getting ahead of the game, keeping your family cool before the hot summer months with one of our maintenance agreements in the hopes of avoiding the dreaded emergency service call. Our maintenance agreements include, we'll test the electrical components, check and tighten high and low voltage wire connections. We'll check the refrigerant for manufacturer's performance levels, test thermostats, calibrate if needed, clean the evaporator coil and condenser coil, and clear and treat the drain line and drain pans. Just call us at 813-961-8024 for the special rates, and a human will actually answer. 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Back from.
All right, well, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on, brought to you by thirdgenerationplumbing.com. You just saw or heard the spot there. Get them a call and just try out their service. You know, get the update to your AC unit right there for the summertime. Make sure it's running cool and it's not working overtime, because you can save a lot of money. You know, sometimes your Freon's not right, your stuff is not optimal, then it's going to cost you a lot more money. Your air conditioner is going to be running longer. So have them come check it out, try out the service, so you'll know if something does happen in an emergency, who to call, what kind of service you're going to get, and it's going to be great. It's thirdgenerationplumbing.com. They do AC as well. Anything actually mechanical around your home, technology wise, they can do that too. So give them a call, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. All right, let's talk a little NFL, shall we? Actually, you know what? I want to get your personal take on last night's festivities in Dallas, because that place looked like it was up for grabs. And Edmonton had, what, 3-1 lead in the third period? Then
3-1 lead going into the third.
3 straight power play goals. They ended up scoring 5 goals in the third and win game 1 6-3. I mean, if you're Edmonton, that's a kick in the crotch. That is a kick in the crotch.
It's a gut punch because last year, this is a rematch, obviously, of last year's Western Conference Finals when the Oilers won in 6. In that series, the Stars were 0 for 14 on the power play. That was the talking point. Oh, and by the way, in that 0 and 14, they'd allowed 2 shorties. So they got outscored on their power play by the Oilers last season in the Western Conference Finals last year. So going into this series, that was a huge talking point. And then going into the third, you're already 0 for 1 on the power play. And it didn't look good. You didn't get a shot off in that first power play at all. You had a shot, about 2 seconds after it officially ended, which was technically still a man advantage. But it didn't count on the stats because it had expired. But so going into the third, there's very little energy in the building. It's just about hopeless, right? And at this point, I'm just thinking, man, going down. And of course, the Stars very rarely win the first game of a series. So, not all hope is lost. But going into that third period, I decided I'm just going to start drinking. I'm going to have the most fun I can possibly have here.
And so did Skinner, evidently. Yeah.
And how about the Oilers, their goalie situation? He's only back. He lost his starting job and he's only back in it because of an injury. And the Stars going into the third, just no life, down 2 goals. There was no hope. And then you come back with 3 power play goals in the course of 5 minutes and 26 seconds.
That's crazy.
And and by the way, your only goal going into that third period was a breakaway goal by Tyler Seguin, by the way, which was freaking beautiful.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous goal.
An awesome, gorgeous breakaway on Skinner. But and that's the only offense that you'd had, going into that third period. But man, it took less than a minute in, they scored the first because they were on the power play to end the second, and it carried over. And you always like those as a power play unit because you got a clean sheet of ice. And Pete DeBoer saw nothing happening with his first power play unit, so he sent the second unit out. The Heiskanen, Granlund, and Matt Duchene power play unit, which is our second unit. The Oilers were not expecting that, and they scored less than a minute into the third period. It turned the entire thing around, and that unit was out for the second power play goal. 32 seconds in was the first one, and then the second one came, a couple minutes after that on another power play. The Oilers had 3 straight penalties called on them there in that third early that allowed the Stars to get back into it. So at that point, the Stars are kind of on edge because a makeup call's coming at some point, and it did when they were up just 4-3, but they were able to contain it, and the Stars power play unit's been great, or penalty kill's been great all season long. Tyler Seguin ended up having 2 goals. Esa Lindell threw out an empty netter there at the end of the game. And dude, it was an incredible turnaround from 2 periods to the third, which is really what this postseason, not just for the Stars, for a lot of teams has been like.
But I'm wondering, I didn't see, I was flipping back and forth with the basketball game, and obviously the Oilers played well for the first 2 periods. Are you a little concerned that that's more a better indication of what this matchup is, or the third period?
Yeah, a little bit. Connor McDavid, dominated the first 2 periods, but couldn't get a goal. He had a couple of blue line to blue line opportunities, and red line to red. And I'm talking goal line to goal line, right? Not blue line to blue line, but goal line to goal line. Where he just carried the puck through everybody. He made Esa Lindell look ridiculous at one point, just skating around him, and thankfully Ottinger was on point, and he stopped them. But that's concerning. Leon Draisaitl, still one of the best players in the game, is a little concerning for me. He had a goal and 2 assists last night. Well rested. He was playing for the first time since their second round series, wrapping it up in Game 5 at Vegas. So I'm a little concerned. However, I think I'm getting a little bit of hope because Skinner's in the net. and he's going to be who we're going to face the rest of the series. Apparently, is what I'm hearing. Otter's on point. His game is at the level that it's at a level that it hasn't been at in a long time in the regular season. And man, and just think about it, the Rantanen line hasn't really been involved yet. They haven't got going yet. And the Stars never play strong offensively in the first game of a series, and it shows. That's why they
lost 7 straight games, home openers.
Wow. Yeah. And so that's part of the reason why is they can't get going offensively. Thankfully, you had your second unit power play that came through for you. But man, I still think that top line, the Rantanen line, is going to get going here in the series. And my original call was Stars in 4.
In 4?
That was my homer call.
That is a total homer call.
Going into the third period, I was talking to one of the lovely young ladies at the bar who asked me what my thought was, and I was like, Oilers in 6. That was kind of when it was down 3-1 going into the third. I'm like,
you're quite fickle. You're quite fickle.
Like Oilers in 6. So then after the game, she's like, still Oilers in 6. I'm like, no, Stars in 4.
Stars in 4. Sorry, give me another shot.
I need another
All right,
shot.
so tonight we got Carolina and Florida game 2, and we'll see what kind of dirty, stinking Panthers moves we see tonight. And I'm going to be interested to see if at some point, and it's interesting because Brenda Moore played for Paul Maurice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're obviously very close, and at some point, does Brenda Moore start? And I haven't really seen his press conference from yesterday, but does he start bitching and moaning about the officiating? And I don't think he will. I don't think he's
not that kind of guy. I don't think.
No, I don't think he is. He's just going to tell his guys to go do what they're doing, and they did. Carolina was physical, but not. They don't take the cheap shots that Florida does, and the late shots and the cheap shot that Florida does. And I want who's the guy on Carolina. Is it gonna be Aho? Who's it gonna be that they hit in the back of the head and get out of the series? And we're just waiting to see that. So that game's that's on TNT True TV tonight. That's an 8:00 puck drop. Minnesota OKC game 2 of the Western Conference. Obviously the Thunder went on a late run in that one, came back and won it pretty handily in game 1. So we'll see what happens in game 2 tonight, which brings us to last night's overtime thriller between the Knicks and the Pacers. And I got to be honest with you. It's been a while since I've actually anticipated seeing a series. And one of the most refreshing thing about this Final Four really is no LeBron, no KD, none of these knuckleheads from years past. It's just, I love it. This is a whole new breed of players. It's exciting. It's new superstars. SGA just won the MVP. Well-deserved. I love it. Halliburton did it again last night. And if you missed this, the Knicks were up 14 points with 2:45 to go. And I turned it off. I'm like, I'm going to go watch hockey. And then I found out that for the first time in almost 1,000 games when the team was up 14 in the playoffs, the Knicks couldn't close it out at home. The poor people at the Garden. I mean, that was an epic choke. And if you missed it, Halliburton, it was a bad play at the end of the game. They're down 2. Yeah. He's got the ball in the paint. I think the rebound, he gets the ball instead of making one of his marquee moves to the basket and finishing to put the game into overtime. He runs back behind the 3-point line with like 0.6 left in the game. It's a terrible shot, fall away. Well, you don't need a 3. A 2 gets you to overtime. And Carlisle's got to be going, no. Doink. Ball hits the back of the rim, goes about 20 feet in the air, and falls straight into the bucket. And he thinks he's just won the game with a 3. So he goes to the Reggie Miller choke sign at Spike Lee. And I thought, I'm watching the game as highlights. I wasn't watching it live, but everybody's going bananas. I wish I was watching this live. But it turns out to be a 2, correct call. So they go to overtime, and it's a great back and forth overtime. One of the best games I've seen in highlight form in a long, long time. Did you watch? Well, you didn't watch it live because you were hammered at the Stars game.
Yeah, no, I watched the replay like you did, though.
Yeah, wow, what a game. And Brunson, he had 43 last night?
Yeah.
He's so good. And this Knicks team is really rootable. I mean, you can root for these guys. I don't know. This is going to be a great series. This is going to be a really, really good series. And that was one hell of a freaking game. That was fun. That was fun.
You know, and I was never an Eastern Conference basketball fan, you know, back in the 90s. Obviously, my Mavericks in the Western Conference, and I hated the Knicks, except for when Derek Harper was there, of course, who was traded from the Mavericks over there. I was still am a big Derek Harper fan who's on the Mavs broadcast now. But I never liked the Knicks. I never liked the Pacers.
Hated the Knicks.
Yeah, but man,
I was a Lakers fan growing up, you know, so I hated the Knicks. I hated the Pistons. I hated the Celtics.
I think the Pistons were obviously, you know, you love Jordan and the Bulls. I mean, I did. I love Jordan and the Bulls, but I also had a little affinity for the bad boys in Detroit because former Maverick Mark Aguirre got traded there. So I was like, oh man, I love Aguirre. I started to love Bill Laimbeer, even though he went to Notre Dame, and I hated Notre Dame.
They ruined basketball for 20 years.
Oh, see, I don't think so. I think that's what basketball should have been, man. Because I was a hockey fan. I'm like, this is like hockey with a basketball. This is great, man. But dude, the Knicks Pacers series in the 90s, anytime they would play each other in the postseason, it was must-watch TV.
It was great stuff. Yeah, it was a brawl. It was a brawl. Absolutely, with the Ewing and Oakley, you know, and John Starks, who we've had on the program.
Yeah,
Charlie Ward, our good friend Charlie Ward.
Florida State.
Even I remember Charlie Ward got mad, got in a fight. I'm Charlie Ward. I mean, when you see that happen, you're like, holy hell, somebody's pissed off. Somebody's doing something wrong.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is back in the day, I hated Reggie Miller. I could not stand.
Same.
He had the worst freaking shot I'd ever seen where his hands always were crossing over and doing this every time he shot the ball. I'm like, what is that? But looking back in retrospect now with you know, good old time syndrome, dude, he was great, dude. I love him on the broadcasts. Like I love
a great 3-point shooter. Yeah, it's that whole reminiscent thing of the choke last night was great, even though it was. So but can you imagine? You imagine if they lost?
Yeah, it'd be even a bigger story.
Oh my God, that would have been the greatest meme of all time. That meme would have been, oops, little premature celebration there, my friend.
Right,
but he backed it up. He backed it up in the OT. So. Great theater last night. I mean, I'm actually going to be tuning in to watch. Basketball is fun again.
And look, everyone knows my opinion of the NBA and who ruined it and why I don't watch it anymore. But for me, in this postseason, even though the Mavs are out of it, to me, it's all watchable and it's all awesome.
I agree.
Because LaFraud's not in it, and I don't have to deal with him. Yeah, I will watch every single postseason game when it doesn't conflict with a Stanley Cup game. But
I don't want to see Luka play. I don't want to see LeBron play. I don't want to see I don't want to see KD. I want to hear from him. I don't want to hear so many of these old school guys that just like ruin the game. Just ruin the game for me.
This is all the new school guys here that we're watching. It's great.
Yeah. I love it. I'm a big fan. All right, so to the Tush push. So it came up 2 votes short of getting banned. So it's still going to be avowed.
Which, by the way, coming up 2 votes short means it's going to be back on the docket super, super soon for them to vote on it again when they're that close.
So Diana Rossini wrote a story for The Athletic, and it's really interesting. And she talked about how Jeffrey Luria went in there and made these impassioned pleas. And the first thing, he had to go into the competition committee and the health and safety, and they voted unanimously to ban it. Mm-hmm. Now, typically when that happens, the owners will follow suit with the rubber stamp, but that's not what happened here.
Yeah,
that's not what happened here. So she writes, Lori began emphasizing the need to clean up the process around the play rather than the play itself, pointing to the fact that no data supports the idea that it's inherently more dangerous than any other play. Quote, "It's the safest play in the history of the game," he told the room. "Whoever votes to ban this play is taking liability for putting risk on our quarterbacks." Ooh, it's turning the tide. Lori pointed out the need for owners to consider the fact that they are stewards of the game itself, instead of voting based on what helps or hurts their specific teams. "We are owners, not members," he said. Interesting. Said one high league source who was in the room said, quote, "Lori was like a guy trying to convince his girlfriend why she shouldn't leave him."
Yeah.
Through his pitch, Laurie was emotional, passionate, at one point crude. He said the fact that his team came up with a play so unstoppable that the rest of the league had no other choice but to try and ban it was like a wet dream for a teenage boy. You see Jeffrey Loria in front of all these owners like a wet dream for a teenage boy. Toward the end of his great quote. Toward the end of his address, he told the assembled owners that regardless of the day's result, he and his franchise would walk out winners with Super Bowl rings to show for it. It's kind of like a defiant in your face.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best approach, but it worked. It worked. And he brought Jason Kelsey in. So Kelsey was up next. He spent his entire playing career with the Eagles, retiring after 2022 season. Ran the tush push countless times over his final 2 seasons. On Wednesday, he wasn't loud and animated, instead offering his expertise as an all-pro center and arguing for why the play should remain in the game. He told the room, if I could run 60 tush pushes a game, I'd come back. Hey, dog, nobody wants to see that.
No. We go watch rugby or Australian rules football. We don't need that in the game.
Yeah. So after discussion, the general session ended without a vote. Things moved to a more privileged setting for a more debate, and quickly, it turns out, a vote. Green Bay's proposal needed 24 votes to pass, but 10 teams, including the Ravens, Lions, Patriots, and Jets, did not support it. That's when Philly could rejoice. The Eagles' social media team pronounced within minutes. Tabling the tush push discussion at the previous league meeting signaled to some around the league that the play's days were numbered. But some of the sources I spoke to in the immediate aftermath of the news were not surprised by Wednesday's result. Quote, I was a vote about process more than what was right, one league source told me. People don't like the NFL telling people how to vote. Health and safety was cited, but Chief Medical Officer Alan Sills wasn't here today. So I think it's very interesting. The process to me is very, very interesting. And so she kind of concludes this. As for the rest of the league, the majority of the league remains unhappy with Wednesday's result. Yeah, 22 people. Right. One head coach informed of the vote's result as he left the practice field on Wednesday summed it up this way. Wow, this is a big loss for the league.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah. You think?
So the irony of it here is that, back during the NFL scouting combine, when they first started talking about this vote taking place to ban the tush push, one of the guys that was most outspoken in keeping it was Todd Bowles. We have several quotes from him. I wrote several pieces about it where he said, you know what, just maybe we need to be better defenses and we need to learn how to stop it instead of just banning it altogether. I mean, right. I'm summarizing what he was saying, but that's basically the gist of it. And as a defensive coach, it's kind of admirable, right? We talked about it a little bit yesterday. And I agree. Apparently, the Glazers did not agree with Bowles, and they wanted to, which I'm on their side, I think, here. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of watching it. I do think it is an inherently dangerous play. We talked about Tank Dell, and he's not the only one that's ended their seasons on a tush-push play. Now, is that more on the play or on the team and what the personnel they're putting in? It doesn't matter. I don't like to see it. And you know what? I'm pretty sure 150 years ago or whenever it was, 100 years ago, when the forward pass was being debated, I'm sure there were guys like me going, we don't need that in our game. Screw that. You need to be running the ball. We got our formations. We don't need formations. I'm sure that was happening, but the tush push is not the same as the forward pass.
And the Bears still haven't figured it out.
They still don't know how to have the forward pass. They need to ghost to Newt Rockney over there or something. But to me personally, I don't know about the rest of the league or good or bad. I don't like to watch it. It's not a fun play. There's nothing dramatic about it, exciting about it. I don't care what team is running it. It's just
I just think that the play itself, I do think it's become a farce because of what happened in the Washington game, and especially down on the goal line. You can just start because the best way to defeat it is to go over the top. Like I forget who the linebacker was that was jumping over the top trying to hit.
Twice.
And just kept going off sides. And I said, that's what I would do. And then it got to be a farce. And so much so that the official had to come on in a playoff game and say, you keep doing this, or we're going to award a touchdown. It's like,
shocking.
Really?
Shocking.
Which would have been ridiculous.
Controversial.
So, and for that alone, I think you have to kind of, do we really need this in our game? And to me, it's all about the push. It's all about the push. It's not about the wedging of the offensive lineman or even Jalen Hurts, being such a powerful quarterback. That's part of his game. He should not be, kept from doing that. But it don't need the players coming up from behind him and pushing him. That's the part that's all we need to ban. Is go back to the old rule. We're making it too much about the tush push. What we should do is make it about helping players. Stop talking about the tush push and start talking about we're going to go back to the rule where anywhere on the field you cannot push a player, because I do think that's dangerous. When you see, when I see these offensive linemen come up from behind the pile, and we do this a lot now. Yeah. These offensive linemen, there's a pile down the field, right? At 6 or 7, they'll kind of get a middle run and the pile keeps going. And then you see these 350-pound offensive linemen come up from behind and just slam into the pile. That's not safe. No. That's not safe. And I don't think we're talking about it. What we've made this discussion about a team and a play, when I think this discussion should be about a rule like that, because I think that's more dangerous than anything.
Because it used to be illegal.
It used to be
For
illegal.
Years it was illegal. And then all of a sudden.
And you see this, am I wrong? Don't you see this a lot more in the last 2 or 3 years? Offensive linemen coming up from behind and pushing. I don't want to be that defender, number one, because you're trying to tackle a guy.
Or the running back that's holding the ball in the middle of all of it.
Yeah, and your back is to the 300. Here comes Tristan Wirfs with a 10-yard run. And I'm not trying to pick on Tristan, but he's like a 10-yard run. And you're trying to bring this guy to the ground. You got your back to him. You can't defend yourself. Yeah. And he's going to slam into you from behind. Mark my words. If we haven't already had injuries to that, if the rules are going to remain that way, that's a smart play on his part. If you're Tristan Wirfs, I get a shot at this guy and he's not even looking. And I'm probably going to push the pile and maybe Bucky comes out the other end and keeps running. Hell yeah, I'm doing that. But I don't think it's safe. Well, I don't think it's safe for the players.
The reason you're seeing it more recently is I can't remember when the rule was changed. I want to say around 16 or 17, probably.
I think it was back to 08 or 09.
Oh, was it that long ago?
Yeah.
So you had guys in the league who had been in the league so long they knew when it had been illegal and you weren't allowed to do that. It wasn't part of the game. And now you've got guys that have come up in the game with it being allowed. So it's more into their game, right? They're more, okay, well, we can do this. I've been doing it my whole football career. Whereas before you had guys who came up and it was illegal. So they never even entered their mind to do something like that. But no, you're absolutely right. This is not about should the Eagles be allowed to be able to do the tush push play. This is more about should any team be allowed to assist the runner from behind by pushing him on any play in any situation.
Exactly.
And I don't think they should be allowed to do that.
Yeah. And that means, it kind of comes up from a defensive side, what happens if there's a stalemate? They blow the whistle. If they, forward progress. And I don't think they're blowing the whistle quick enough because that's where you're going to get injuries. So anyway, so the Bucs, according to sources, did vote against it. They voted for banning it.
Right.
So there was a disconnect between ownership and the head coach, if that means anything. And I think that's healthy. And that's okay. Yeah. Let's not make a big deal out about it. And as I said this earlier, it's kind of a hard one for me because on principle, I agree with Bowles. We should not be banning plays of other teams that are successful. That sets a very bad precedent, in my opinion. And you wouldn't want it to be done to the Bucs if we were really good at something.
It's like back in the early 80s when the Chargers were really good at throwing the ball downfield, right? Dan Fouts and Charlie Joyner. And then the league comes out and says, look, you can't do this anymore. No forward passes beyond 20 yards are allowed in the league. Or
Dan Fouts bad.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and I think the Bucs did the right thing. I mean, if we're going to have a vote on this, if we're going to have a vote on it and we're going to be able to take something away from one of our chief rivals right now at this particular time,
do it.
And I can also say with a straight face, I don't think it's safe. I think there are issues with this. Then I'm going to vote against it. And that's what they should have done. I think the Bucs did the right thing, but I think it's a bad precedent. Did I completely conflict myself there?
Very contradictory, but it makes sense. But it makes sense because I agree 100%.
Just being honest. All right, we'll take another.
Wait, before we get to your break here, real quick, I wanted to bring this up. I don't know that I'll have time after the break. Did we see that Cam Ward signed his Titans contract? Yeah. Finally. And what it was for? 4 years, $48.7 million. Did we also see what Shedeur Sanders' contract with the Browns was? 4 years, $4.6 million.
Ouch,
Cam Ward's contract is 10 times what Shedeur Sanders' contract is, and it's all because of where they were drafted. And this is what everybody was talking about when he was sliding in the draft. Oh, this is a preconceived thing to cost him money down the road. And and Cam Ward's going to have a 5th-year option on his deal. Cam Ward's not going to have a 5th-year option on his deal because he's not a first rounder.
Yeah, Shedeur, yeah.
So there's Shedeur, yeah. So this is what everybody was complaining about. That's on Team Shedeur. And look, I'm not for Shedeur Sanders. I'm not against Shedeur Sanders. I think his skills and his draft positioning was highly overblown by Mel Kiper Jr. and a ton of other people. Do I think he's as bad as a 5th rounder? No, I don't think that. Do I think he's probably a 3rd rounder? Probably somewhere in the middle is where I think he, by skill, talent, and ability, should have gone. If his name was anything other than Sanders, he'd be Dylan Gabriel, right? Pretty strong. And Dylan Gabriel, by the way, his college resume is way better than Shedeur Sanders.
That's right.
And he went in the 3rd round, also to the Browns, obviously. But this is all I wanted to say was this is just kind of what that whole thing was about. $48.7 million over 4 years, or $4.7 million over 4 years.
Yeah, and the Shedeur thing is. There's a lot. Let's just be honest. There's a lot of politics and agenda that goes into this.
Yep.
I think Mel Kiper. I think he was desirous, if I can use that word,
sure,
of overrating Shedeur Sanders because he didn't want to be looked at as one of those guys that, you just don't like him because he's a confident black man.
Right.
He didn't want to be one of those people. And so I'm going to rate him, he's a 1st-round pick. He's a 1st-round pick. I can see past that. And the tape's not there. The tape is not there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he's good. I don't think he's great. Do I think he's better than Tyler Shook?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe.
I saw Tyler Shook play a lot of football.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he might be. But also think about this. Pro quarterbacks are a different skill set than college quarterbacks. Tyler Shook looks like a better pocket passer, a better stand in there and taller.
He is athletic. The prototypical NFL quarterback body. That's what he is. Yeah.
So and you have to project as an NFL player, not as a college player. So I think there's a lot that went into it. A lot of it, and I think it worked. It worked for Shedeur, and I think it worked against him. I think it worked in both ways. I don't think. And I think it was Dan Orlovsky and a couple. I've heard of a couple of the guys that were grading Shedeur. And the one thing that everybody was consistent on, it's a tough grade because of the way he plays and how bad the offensive line was. He was constantly running for his life, and you couldn't see he doesn't appear to be a guy that reads the field well. You know why? Because when he hit his back foot, he was running for his life.
Yeah,
a lot of times. And criticizing his own offensive line and the coach and the head coach doing it as well probably didn't help.
Yeah.
It was kind of a weird, and it wasn't just the offensive system. It was the construct of the team. We've never had a high profile coach coaching his own kid as a quarterback. There was so much dysfunction about the Colorado program, or even maybe dysfunction is not the right word. It was so different than anything we've ever seen before. And for NFL evaluators to have to go in there and look at this guy, and it's like, what am I really seeing here? How is he being coached? How is the offensive line being coached? How does this work? And to some degree, you're seeing this with Travis Hunter. Have you seen the tape of Travis Hunter at the Jacksonville practices? Yeah. It's awful.
Yeah,
it's not like, I don't know about this guy. It's awful.
He's dropping way more passes than he ever dropped in college.
And I said this, while watching his evaluation. You watch him play in college. He ain't running great routes.
No.
He just wasn't. His athleticism was so good, and he was getting targets and just getting the ball in his hand. He wasn't going against great corners, setting them up and making a move in a tight situation, cutting a route off, being a great tactician, route runner, like you see in the league. You got to be in the league.
Yeah.
That's not, you go put on that tape and it's a lot of rounding off outs. It's a lot of, screens. It's a lot of slants. There's no nuance to his route running game. Can he do it? Of course he can. He's look at the athlete that he is. Has he been coached that well? I don't think so.
Nope.
Because those routes that he's running are awful.
Dion coached him his entire college career, right? 2 years at Jackson State and 2 years at Colorado. And that was after he had committed to Florida State, correct? I mean, he was originally going to Florida State.
Since he was about 5 years old.
Yeah. And then Dion steals him from his
really
alma mater.
Remind me of that, to be honest.
But, look, I always thought he was an barely above average wide receiver and a barely above average cornerback in college.
No, what made him look great as a wide receiver was his athleticism catching the ball. I mean, any jump ball, any 50-50 against a college corner, he was going to win.
He's going to get it.
He was going to win. And so he didn't need to run great routes. He just didn't. He just throw it in the vicinity, and that helps Shador as well. Shador didn't need to be precise with a lot of his throws because you just throw it in his vicinity. He's coming down with it.
Yeah.
But that ain't happening in the NFL. And so you look at Travis Hunter right now as a wide receiver, and if he didn't have his name on his jersey, he'd have got cut in that camp as a wide receiver because those routes were awful. When I say awful, I mean, he's trying to run stop. And I think he's doing a lot of this stuff for the first time. He'll get it. He's too good of an athlete not to, but there's going to be a learning curve there. There's going to be a learning curve as a receiver for him.
I don't think Liam Cohen's over there on the sideline going like, oh my God, what have we done?
No,
not quite yet. Not yet.
No. Well, first of all, because they did draft the best corner and he's going to be he's a great corner. He's a fantastic corner. And that, I don't know as much about his mechanics as a corner, but I'm pretty sure a lot of it's this, the same. He's going to have to learn the nuances of playing corner in the NFL. Yeah. So I think he's a very raw player. I really do. I don't think that he has been coached to the level of some of these, I don't think he wouldn't look like that had he been coached by Brian Hartline at Ohio State.
No way. No. And a lot of times for these guys with just great athleticism, but not maybe great mechanics and stuff, whether it's quarterback, wide receiver, or cornerback coming out of college, when you get to this level at the NFL, a lot of game film studying and learning your opponent and learning how to predict things, right? And he didn't have that in college. I guarantee you they didn't do any of that in college. But now coming into the NFL with a full NFL coaching staff and a fairly decent one, we'd like to think, over in Jacksonville, then he's going to, I think, learn a lot, but there's going to be a curve there, and he's not going to be great to start.
No.
He's going to have to pick up these things.
No. Couple of thoughts here from our peanut gallery here. Rick says, don't worry, they'll have a 100-page report on injured players. Goodell will punish teams against him. No vote. How about back-to-back Thursday night games after playing in France? Yeah, the NFL has a way of getting even with you, and Thomas Katzer says the Bucs stuffed the Eagles tush push. Okay. I hear this all the time. Well, the Bucs, they stopped it twice, 2 or 3 times. There's another 15 to 20 times they didn't stop it. So enough of this. Oh, the Bucs stop it all the time. They did a couple of times, but not all the time, and not even close to all the time.
And I don't know that those were in game-changing situations, like on the goal line or anything. That was just a random.
Yeah, they stopped it once, and then the next play they scored. I mean, so what does it really mean?
Right,
not much. So, but we got to stop at that, Thomas. I know what you're saying, but it's not like we're their kryptonite and we stop it every time. That's not the case. So, and we'll see. And boy, will the microscope be on it this year.
Man, any injuries are going to be overblown too.
We're just in success of it, and the Eagles are going to want to be even more successful than they have been.
By the way, since 2022, the Eagles 87% success rate with the play.
There you go. Cody says nobody likes the tush push because it's Philly. Everyone dislikes the Eagles because of their overly aggressive fans. I think that's fair.
I mean, I just hate the Eagles because I hate the Eagles because they're in my division.
No, I think that's fair. That's part of it. Mike H says it's just a bad look for the NFL. What do you mean to try and ban it,
or the play
or just
itself?
the game itself? What else we got here? Mike H says Curtis Mead has a 5-game hitting streak, plus his barehanded grab at third and throw to first was impressive. Yeah, he played great yesterday. He really, really did. It's about freaking time. It's about freaking time. And he's been awful all year long, and he's cost us a lot of games. What else we got here? More right runners like hashtag Texas hockey.
Hell yeah.
It's a weird
right, more right rudder.
Mike H brings this up. JP, when Cash threw Rodney's arm off him as he ran back out to the umpires, does that say anything about their relationship? Shows me something is off there. Nah, I don't think so.
Heat of the moment type deal.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. I want to get to a couple other things. Oh, the Indy 500 thing. This is IndyCar Tim's going to explain this to us. This is a one of the most egregious cheating scandals in the history of auto racing. Fair to say?
Oh, yeah.
Fair to say that?
Mike, it's not close.
Yeah. Wow. With the Indy 500 coming up this weekend. So we'll talk about that and a couple other notes. Anything else you guys want to bring up, put it in the comments. We're brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source. Double your trade-in value till the end of May, up to $2,500. So that'll give you $5,000 to spend at Gold and Diamond Source. That's a great deal. Also, gold is up to $3,000 an ounce. Get your old gold jewelry and bring it in for top prices at the Gold and Diamond Source right now. Great way to get some quick cash. Kids, go to mom's jewelry box. No, I'm kidding. Do not do that. But go ask your wife. If you're still wearing this, I'll get you something nice. I can double the trade-in value. I think she'll be up for that. You know, maybe get a little something for yourself. Wet your beak a little bit, right? Because you're getting double the trade-in value. I like that. Golden Diamond Source is where you do that. And tell them JP sent you. Back in 3. Hey, are you tired and broke from going to those overpriced sports bars with $18 martinis and $20 burgers? Well, head over to Riveters, now the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. I love the atmosphere. It's uniquely nostalgic American, recalling the days of Rosie the Riveter. The staff is incredibly friendly and welcoming in a laid-back, casual indoor-outdoor setting. And check out the reviews, and you'll hear this. Best Reuben sandwich ever. Amazing wings, burgers, and prime rib. The welcome you get when you walk in is incredible. The staff will call you by name. You're not just customers. You're really part of the family. So go say hello to Maha, Taylor, Serena, May, Courtney, Jamie, Christina, Lauren. Tell them JP sent you. This is a real sports bar, and we love our home teams. And they're playing the games on the TVs all the time. You won't have to ask to put the Lightning, the Rays, the Bucs, or the Rowdies on. They do the UFC fights for free, no cover. Big screens and TVs everywhere. It's the place to watch sports in Tampa. Great fresh food, amazing staff, great drinks, insane happy hour, 3 to 7 every day. Race season is here, so make sure you stop by Riveters before or after the game. It's just north of 275 on Dale Mabry, just south of Steinbrenner Field. See you at Riveters. JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. You know, we told you about the amazing Diamond Savings Account where your diamond never loses its value. Well, now, through the end of May, the Gold and Diamond Source will double your trade-in value up to $2,500. Just bring in your jewelry to trade, and your $2,500 piece turns into $5,000. It's time to upgrade that ring, earrings, whatever. We have gemologists on site to make the deal. Double your trade value up to $2,500. Get you $5,000 to spend. So go through your jewelry box and get that stuff you never wear and get something new and stylish that you're going to love. Great experience, and we will double your trade-in now till the end of May. We can finance you as well. No interest for 5 years. Only at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldendiamond.com. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669 1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call, so why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays!
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. They're local, they're trusted, and they get results. So if you're in an accident, it's Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. And by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo, my concierge medical doctor, will take care of you. I got to tell a quick story about my visit to the primary care doctor, too. That's why I have a concierge doctor like Dr. Lugo.
Oh, boy.
Go to BAMMC.com. And make sure you have somebody in your corner that is worried about you and not the bottom line of the insurance companies. That's BAMMC.com. And, of course, Riveters. Don't forget what to watch tonight at Riveters. We got hockey, and we're going to have this almost every night for the next couple of weeks, actually probably for the next month. Hockey and basketball in the conference finals. Minnesota OKC at 8:30, Florida Carolina at 8 o'clock. You can watch them both. And probably a Rays game, not tonight, but usually a Rays game.
Yep.
That's what you're watching at Riveters. Plus all the UFC events free of charge, no cover charge. So we'll be doing some stuff on that.
Man, most of the places here in Dallas charge you $20 just to get in the door to watch MMA stuff.
I know it's awesome about Riveters, and they have the big screens there and have the audio going. So just come and enjoy some of their fresh food and have great drinks at reasonable prices, which is great.
Yeah, and I'm not like the biggest UFC fan. Like, I'll watch some of the big fights with buddies that are into it, and I'll get into it a little bit. But sometimes I just want to go out on a Friday night and have a beer, or Saturday night and have a beer at a bar. Yeah. And I walk in and they're like, we need $20. And I'm like, for what? Well, the fight's on there. I'm like, I don't give two craps about the fight. I'm coming in to have a beer and, drag something out of here.
By the way, for them to do that. So pay it back to the Riveters folks. Definitely. And come in and tell them JP sent you. All right. So yesterday, Roger Penske, one of the titans of racing, fired his entire leadership crew for a scandal
top three guys. Yes.
Yeah. For a scandal that is embarrassing to him and maybe one of the biggest scandals in auto racing history. Explain what happened.
So this actually harkens back to last year's 2024 St. Pete, right? Where
Joseph Newgarden was won the race and then was deemed to have used illegal push-to-pass software from Penske Racing. Yeah.
So they also found that illegal push-to-pass in his car at last year's Indy 500, which, by the way, he won.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't necessarily, but they also found out or deemed that he didn't use it, but it was there. So they didn't disqualify him. They didn't take his win away because he didn't use it. He didn't use all of his push to pass because he didn't need it because their cars are freaking the best in the series. But the reason this is such a big deal is because of who it is. This is Roger Penske's team. Roger Penske owns IndyCar. And I don't mean that he dominates IndyCar. He owns the series. He owns the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
And he is one of the top teams and has been for 40 years in the history of the series. So what happened was during qualifying for the Indy 500, and if those of you that are familiar with it, or if you're not, I'll explain it. It's not just you go out a day, you run a lap, and you qualify. They have an entire 2 weeks from the point of the Indy Grand Prix that they run in the middle of the month. And by the way, go think about this. This used to be the full month of May. Right. They had the entire month of May to go out and have their practices and tune for the week before the race, which would be 3 weeks into the month. And you go out and you qualify. It's the best 4 laps. It's a 4-lap average, right? So the way the series does it now is they will qualify spots 13 through 29 on a Saturday, right? And then your top 12 will advance the next day for pole qualifying. And then they have those 12 cars run their fast.
That's always been a big deal, the qualifying, yeah.
So what happened was the 2 Penske cars made it into, well, all 3 of them made it into what they call the Fast 12. Mm-hmm. One of their cars was fine. 2 of their cars, by the way this was found out is because a rival and one of the great owners in the series, Chip Ganassi, who's former driver, was in line, had his cars in line there for the Fast 12, and he's walking down the line, and he sees something fishy about 2 of the Penske cars. And so what this controversy is so all these cars are spec cars. They're all built by Dallara.
You got about 3 minutes left, Timmy. Let's get to the payoff here, baby.
I got you. I'm watching the clock. I'm probably watching more than you do. So these attenuators, they had 2 attenuators that were deemed to be illegal.
Right.
So what the attenuator is, it's just a big square box on the back of the car that protects the gearbox, and it also extends the chassis of the car so that they can put the rear wing on it farther back than it used to have to be. That's really all it is. It's a spec piece, which means you cannot customize it. So it's in 2 pieces. There's a big piece that's connected to the gearbox, and then a much smaller piece that goes on the end of that. So there's a lip, right?
Right.
So what Chip Ganassi saw was that lip had been filled in with Bondo, whatever it was that they decided to use.
Make it more aerodynamic.
To make it more aerodynamic, which, by the way, minimal, like meh. But whatever, they're smarter than I am.
Well, they win by an inch at the line. It makes a difference.
It does. So IndyCar goes in. They're like, "Look, you guys got to fix this. This is what happened first. They're in line for the Fast 12. They start to do it on pit lane. You're not allowed to do that. So then they had to take the cars back. You see on TV, they've got the grinder wheels out. They're all trying to grind this down, blah, blah, blah. They interviewed Tim Cindric. He's like, I have no idea what this is. Had to be an oversight, aesthetic. And we did this for aesthetics, I guess. I can't imagine any. Exactly. So keep in mind, Roger Penske has nothing to do with the day-to-day operations of his team. This is all Tim Cindric as the president. Yeah. So they get back there. They don't have time to qualify. At the end of the day, they're like, fine, you guys are finishing at the back of our Fast 12, which is 11th and 12th. Everybody else says, well, that's not fair. They didn't make a run. So IndyCar the next day says, you know what? You're absolutely right. That is not fair. Those 2 guys will start 32nd and 33rd in row 11. Meanwhile, McLaughlin, the other guy who had nothing on his car, his was fine. He will start where he did in the Fast 12. The very next day, Roger Penske fires Tim Cindric, managing director Ron Rzuski, and IndyCar general manager Kyle Moyer, because there is a history of this.
Yeah.
And it's all been swept under the rug. They are the most powerful team in IndyCar, and apparently this has been going on for a while. And guess what else, JP? They went and looked at last year's car, Joseph Newgarden's 2024 IndyCar, Indy 500 winning car, because it's in the IMS museum. The winning cars go to the museum. Yeah. Everybody went and looked.
All the reporters went and looked at it. Yeah.
Had the same Bondo around the attenuator.
And listen, if it wasn't an advantage, they wouldn't do it.
Yep.
Because you're risking all this. So
you're risking this.
Yeah, this is a major scandal. And kudos to Roger Penske. Now, we can say that and also say, well, you've been getting away with this for quite some time. You won a lot of big races, so it's a little sus. Yeah. But he finally, put his foot down, and it's interesting and we'll see. But it certainly adds a little bit of drama to this weekend's Indy 500.
The shame about this is, and I'll get into my full Indy 500 preview tomorrow for you guys. I will do that. We'll put a spot on the calendar for it or on the schedule for it.
Yes,
because this is hugely unfortunate that this is happening this year, and I'll tell you why tomorrow.
All right. Well, that took us right to that mark. Great stuff. That's very interesting stuff. I appreciate you doing that because I don't know what the hell's going on, but you explained that very, very well. Even if it took an hour, you explained it very, very well.
4 minutes.
Well done. All right. So, and tomorrow I will share my experience at the primary care physician. Yoa blah.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for this.
God. Crazy. All right. Thanks to Rich Hollenberg for joining us. A great segment with him. So if you missed anything, you can always listen to us as a podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You can Google the JP Peterson Show, find out all the different platforms, but please like and subscribe, support the show, send us money, whatever you want to do. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with our IndyCar 500 update preview.
Same thing.
That way, it's the wave of the future.